Hello and welcome back to another episode of Dwarf Fortress. It is now winter and, well, it is the last season of our second year at Iril Dazel. So let's finish the hospital by playing 3 tables. So as you can see now, the reason for my designation of the beds are so that I don't have to use too many tables and traction benches. I get the maximum amount out of my furniture, which is how I think a hospital is in most respects, a very efficient running machine. Unfortunately, it's true in very bad ways as well. However, in-game it's a real advantage because the dwarves that are injured and unconscious won't wake up if you just move them one square in distance. So it's one of the best things to have the dwarves actually right next to the traction bench or the tables. And since not every dwarf that's in the hospital needs surgery at the same time, I haven't really seen any negative effect from using this kind of setup of the tables and such. So, we were going to trade with the dwarves, I believe. Or did we do that? We were going to trade with the dwarves, yes. So we got some steel bars, kind of expensive, but we did ask them to prioritize them over other things they might have brought. But you can see I get a lot of bars from asking them to bring them. I just have to pay a little bit more, but I think that's better than the alternative that they won't bring any. And they brought some wood, which is nice but not really necessary. But I have more than enough money. As you can see, my crafts that have been encrusted with gems are way more expensive than anything they have to offer me. Perhaps with the exception of possible steel weapons. But as you can see, just by doing those encrusted items I can get over 20,000 in exports. And I usually ask for milk. It's a really good food product, both in the way that it can be made into cheese and it can be used instead of alcohol in the food industry when you're creating prepared meals. So that way you can save both on alcohol when you're doing the meals, and then you can actually make it into cheese if you have any extra. Of course, if you have a farming industry where you produce things like syrup, then you don't really need the milk as a liquid ingredient in meals. And then you can just make cheese meals instead. First you make the cheese and then you use the cheese as the main ingredient if you don't want to use meats. And I don't think I want those steel bolts. My hunter isn't good enough to... or the steel bolts won't get better by being encrusted, if I say it like that. At least as far as I know. So it's a waste to buy extremely expensive arrows. You could of course export expensive arrows, but it's better to make them yourself. So they had items for a value of 11,000 that I am interested in. So let's see what I can trade. Or not trade. It's sometimes a good idea to keep the most expensive stuff, because, well, yeah. The most expensive stuff reduces the amount of hauling your dwarves have to do. I mean, there's no difference to you if you have 100 items that are worth 40 dwarf bucks each, or if you have one item worth 4,000. But to the traders it's a huge difference, because you might get away with less profit for the traders if you have high valued items, because that's the caravan leaders are somewhat what do you call it? They have gold fever. I think that's the best expression for it. And as you can see, the roof is moving along. At least I hope it's the roof. I haven't really decided, but I think I'm going to be satisfied with my archers being on the second level, because I've been told that the higher your ranged units are, the less of a distance their arrows can go, or bolts. Although I'm not sure, I haven't actually tried that, so I guess you could go into adventure mode and try it out, because then you could actually see how far you could shoot or something. Anyhow, I'm good with being on the second floor, since I'm not going to use the walls to defend against flyers. But you will see what I've planned for the courtyard. Either during our the third or the fourth year, I think my defenses will be more or less complete. I hope. At least on the top. I really need to make a secondary entrance also before they decide that it's a good idea to siege my fortress. The goblins, I mean. And they're making no headway on brewing drinks. Could be a problem. So, there are multiple bedrooms ready for whenever a new wave comes, which should be during this season. At least a few dwarves usually come during winter. Let's hope it's not another wave of 20, since I only have about, I don't know, 10 rooms or something. I didn't count. It's not really that important. I guess half of them could sleep in the open dormitory, but I'd really like them to have rooms as soon as possible. As you can see, the problem with the mouse not registering in the bottom of the window seems to be still happening, so it definitely is some kind of bug. But maybe that's because I'm using a resolution that's that Dwarf Fortress isn't supposed to have. I don't know. It might just be a not even a bug, but how it's intended to work. As you can see, well, I just thought I saw something. But I guess he was just hungry. He wasn't taking it to the refuse pile. Let's make a stockpile so that the brewer doesn't have to run so far for empty pots and barrels. And the dwarves have left us. And we have honey badger irritating our workers again. And we have... oh, that was the deceased one. Oh well. So, let's start constructing the grand hall. I've sped up the footage because it's really all that fascinating to watch me do this. So, I mean, it's like, why would you want to sit around and watch me think for a few minutes while coming up with a nice looking room? Because even though this is, I think it's 300% speed, I mean, why would you want to watch it in normal speed? As you can see, I've decided here to move the pillars a bit to not have the room actually symmetrical. It's because I want to make the throne for the king down here at the southern part of the room. And the pillars, I made indentations into them because I want to place statues there later once my masons are legendary, so that we have a really nice well, total value of the room. And first engrave the pillars and then place statues there will make the room just ridiculously valuable. But that will happen once I have a good military up and running. Oh, my Jaguar really needs some help. There, now we might perhaps get some speed into our cloth industry. So let's make some more roof tiles and see if we can't make the whole roof finished by the end of this winter. And the hospital needs splints, crutches, and soap, among other things. But I guess we can make the splints and the crutches now, at least. We would need a soap maker to make soap. I'm still curious why I'm only getting 50 FPS while running, since the this recording program shouldn't be taking up so much from my computer, because well, Dwarf Fortress takes up one of my 4 processing cores, and it's set to high priority, so it should be getting the full effect of one core at least. By comparison, I can say that I usually don't get down to 50 before I have like at least 100 citizens and over 100 animals. But I guess it must be that we can... oh yeah, perhaps it's that we already can see the magma sea, or that the simulation has to calculate the lava sea continuously. I hadn't thought about that. So maybe 50 is a goodish number for it. I don't know. Let's make some more beds in here. 4 is good, but some more would be better, I guess. And if you can't remember, I'm designating the roof tiles so that it works in the most efficient way from the stacking plates way. Since the last construction you place is the first to get built. Just to remember you, to help you remember why I'm doing it. I'm thinking about the forge area, and perhaps some living quarters as well beneath the Great Hall. Two levels beneath the Great Hall should be good enough. Oh, he still hadn't completed the... oh yeah, I forgot about that. I have to ask for stuff for when the dwarves come during year 3, so logs will be good. I'll probably have to increase that later on, because once sieges start appearing I can't really go outside too much, so I might make a underground tree farm, but I don't know, might be better to get those kind of things from the traders as well, since I don't really need the basic stuff anymore. Well, not too much of the basic stuff anyway. So I'm going to ask for some plants that I didn't bring the embark for the underground farm, so that I can start doing more fun stuff with it. I'm thinking about making some large serrated discs once I get the magma forges up and running. So I'm not going to buy stuff like that. And I've also thought about getting, well, as you can see, getting the animals that will provide our dwarves with wool, and I'm not sure about milk if they give that as well, but wool is the main reason I'm trying to get some more animals into our fortress. Some gypsum plaster for the hospital. Might as well buy it in finished form than in stone form, since stones weigh a lot, and if I choose too many stones I can't really get that much else. I should set the priority correctly on these. And I'm buying the charcoal and coke because I'm still going to need it for my steel bars when I do those. So it's not useless to buy once you have, even if you have the magma forges up earlier than this. So, as you can see, my grand hole is at least closing in on completion, at least at being excavated. I'm removing pigments from brewing because I want it to be... Well, I'll talk about that next time.